It was in one of my doubt periods. And I remember I was coming around the back of the studio, and I had some of these branches under these trees, and my son, who was just going into art school now, following me, wanted me to do some of these organic cast things. And he saw me coming around the corner with these, dragging these things, you know, these limbs, they're, but you know, some could go 15 feet long. So shape was no problem. It was cheap to do. I didn't have a lot of money in that period in time. So I just started to build that thing, and I got down on the very bottom. I'm not really a carpenter, although I did some rough carpentry. But I got on the bottom, and I laid, I think, 10 2 by 4, about 8 feet wide, as as the bottom of the boat. I didn't build the very bottom, because I thought it would be just too much of a drag to figure out how to do this thing, engineering. And I thought if I did a homemade kind of a boat, I'd be more in my situation, or really not. And I would always say I'm not really interested in just doing a boat here. This is and sure enough, when I started to build that, it was coming out like some kind of a skeletal mammal or animal or a whale, a fish. Well, that goes hand in hand with the graveyard period, and what all that confusion was about. Some of my friends, even some of my friends, said, "What are you doing with this? You always get this." I would end up listening to it too much, and I would be better off just go home and figure out my problems there. But what are you doing with this? I think they saw me as becoming religious, which in true fact I did. Isn't that something?
I think one of the great things about Walter is his work is out there so much as public art, and so I knew of him in a couple of the cities that I lived in. I was aware of his work, and it's work that you can't ignore. And so coming to London, I guess about 12 years ago now, I was really looking forward to meeting him and seeing who the guy behind the work was. And it was a real eye-opener. Anybody who has never visited Walter's studio should visit Walter's studio if they get the opportunity. It's an extraordinary place, and it's a surprising place in a whole number of ways. I mean, it's genuinely a workshop. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a studio that looks like it's in use more than Walter's studio, and it's in a way too, I think, almost the way you would imagine the inside of his head, the inside of his brain. I mean, there's so much going on in that space, and so many different things going on in that space, and so it's hard to even focus once you first get in there, because you know, he's got his old sculptures there. He's got the walls painted floor to ceiling in these cosmic, almost psychedelic ways, and then there's Walter himself sitting in the middle of it and engaging you with the kind of conversation that he's capable of. So, yeah, that was my initial impression of seeing Walter.
see, here's hand geometry.
You know, with Alzheimer's being as rampant as it is, basic shit, you know, my older sister has it.
My mom does. Yours is more physical.
Oh, it fucks around with my head
Head
too.
too?
Oh yeah, my short-term memory.
Yeah.
I gotta be careful. If I'm around a bunch of hot shots, get myself a little notepad there, and I just write a few points where we've been. Because I'll announce that I'm going to tell a story, and I really get into embellishing it like I love. 3, 4 minor plots, a bit like Dennis there when he makes his movies. Have about 5 things going at once, and then goddamn, I lose the main point.
Yeah.
I'm sitting with
That's frustrating.
John Bentley Mays,
Yeah.
and I say, John, do you mind telling me what I just said? He looks at his notes and tells me,
Yeah.
okay, I'm all right now. I'll carry on. But you know, even that's kind of a character of old age. And I see the old people now, and I know what they're going through. And it's not that they are just losing a point. It's sometimes that's the way life is. You get to a point where you don't see much clearer for a while. You know, and then if you got something to say, that's icing on the cake. The whole space and time theory that everybody's working on that art, it seemed like in my case, I was about 2 years ahead of time. The people talk about space and time, and it's just like, no, it just burst out into a conversation, like it's something very ordinary. Can you get anything? Now this is, there's no music here in this beginning here, and it's kind of neat. He's singing on and off key.
Yeah, no, it's good, it's fine.
And he'll rumble here for about, I didn't put the second count on it. I suspect it's about 30 seconds here, by the time he gets through. Now he says here, coming up CBC. Sing the blues a little while. Now listen to this, but he's not through. He's got a little more to say. Everybody know, gonna say, gonna have. Have mercy. I can sing a little bit on top of it sometimes too. Yeah. You're going to talk that way. You're going to have. What do you do? That's the end of the first stanza. And then leave this in. Okay, ending it up.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when Robert was around here, I should have taken piano lessons off him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he paid a little bit of boogie woogie,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, that
and
was
shit, and
for your band.
I never thought of it.
Well, no, you wouldn't have been.
Because I was always singing with him, you know.
But you didn't do the band thing until.
No,
When
no.
did that start? When did the Walter band start?
When St. Thomas guys were coming over and they were playing, and the membership was rather vague, but that was the first time I ever sang with somebody doing a guitar beside me. And I said, geez, that's fun.
We know Walter in many different guises, and so we all have sort of different experiences with him. I think what will happen tonight is we can all sort of share that amongst us. Now, I don't know, Walter, if you would like to come up and say anything, or if you'd just like to go into the music.
Okay. It would be nice if I fell here in front of you all. I really don't have to speak, but I'm going to, even if I huff and I puff and I blow your house down, thank you for coming. That's quite important. We all got work to do, and recently I've been writing out a new contract with myself if I want to start developing a storyline behind a project I call the Garden Party. And the Garden Party is our earth, and we got work to do, people. So with that, good glad you're here. We're going to play some blues, and we'll have some fun, and my tremor will stop. But I also want to tell you people I'm doing fine. I'm learning how to pace myself, and I'm working, I'm cooking, I'm on fire. And
yes, this is Walter at the dials here. I'm gonna sing a little blues for you. Lord, I tell you, he ever gonna know what he say? The old man playing blues, singing that way. Yeah, he ever gonna know? Come from CBC. I'm gonna sing blues a little while. Now listen to this. Everybody know. Everybody gonna say he gonna have. Ooh, Lord, he gonna have. Yeah, have mercy.
End of message. To reply to it, press 8. To send a copy to someone else with your remarks, press 6.
First thing you got to know about this song is it needs a car horn, one card horn, and it can sit on that first chord just for a little while. Repeat the first chord. So I'll just show you where that car horn goes. Since I met you, baby, I'm a happy man. Since I met you, baby, I'm a happy man. I'm gonna try to love you every way I can. Cause me to cry in the middle of the night.
Yeah, what was Walter like when you first met him, and how you first met him? And
well, I was in grade 9 and he was in grade 12. And of course, he was the best dancer at the school, he was the best dresser at the school, and he didn't pay any attention to me. But I think I matured by the time I was in grade 12, and he kind of got the idea that maybe ask me out for a date. So, and then we went together for a while, and then he went out west. He was going to go out west in, I don't know, Vancouver or someplace, and halfway out there he decided that he missed me, so he came back. and the rest is history.
Was he doing his art then?
Well, he was, yeah, he was doing sketches and drawings and stuff. He was going to stay, and then he was going to go to Mexico. We were going to go to Mexico, and then I don't know what happened. Something with his dad and the farm, and so we didn't go to Mexico. We were going to go there for a year or two, and that didn't work out because of some home commitments. And but I don't think he didn't make it to all the way out. I think he made it to Banff, and he turned around and thought, "No, I'm coming back to her."
So how long did you go together before you got married then?
Very short. Short time.
It seemed to last though.
53 years.
Yes.
It did, yeah. So, and it was. We were always excited to see each other. It was a nice love affair, and it was always respectful, and we did a lot of things together, and had a lot of laughter. And sometimes people didn't see Walter's humorous side. The kids and I were just talking last night about how funny their dad, like he could have humor, very dry, wit humor, but mostly I don't think a lot of people didn't see it. They saw that staunch artist front that he had.
Early stages of a composition, I often use a mock-up that's almost life scale, and I'm able to conceive of the shapes and forms and the subject matter, and then I'm really ready to finish the finished version. Sometimes, though, the problem is that the early mock-up, where things aren't really tied down 100%, visually they can look as exciting or more exciting when it's finished. So you got to be careful that you don't let the secret out of the bag too early, and it not be around at the final version or final state. On the other hand, this large one here is an example of my current surfaces and shapes and forms, and from piece to piece they're similar, but there are some differences.
Here, go. Whole thing in.
How's that look?
That's good.
So it's really the heavens and what might go on out there in the sky or in the cosmos. I might admit that I don't know much about this, but I can, from occasion, from time to time, I can dream. Dream what it might be like. Again, I speak of life, birth, the process, and dissolution. The cycle of life. These things are in process. They're going somewhere. Where do things go? That's the question, is it not? Where do things go? Where do they come from? Problems like this, I was concerned about 60 years ago, and I still am now. Yeah, this is the life size of the piece that it'll be. And I just have to, what I'm doing is I'm placing my monuments or the buildings, or the architecture, into their spots. So like the totem, Caucasian totem sculptures that I made 30, 40 years ago, they also dealt with this space dimension, the variation, the juxtaposition, and the thing has to look good. And that's what I'm trying to do here.
So this is all going into the London Regional?
Yeah, we're having a show.
And when is that?
Middle of February.
Okay.
Actually, you'll be able to get a little shooting when we set up. There might be some interesting chaos there. All the stuff will be jammed through again, you know, then hanging them there in front.
Yeah, yeah.
So this will be like a seed thing for that. How do you like this piece?
I like it.
What I'm thinking of doing is having a bit of a black background painted right on the gallery wall, so that these 3 or 4 sections are. This is very sculptural. It's not just a painting. And I want those plates as they were. They're not totems, but they're totem-like in a way yet, with the seams between the sections. And also, Dennis,
Yeah.
it's a good shot right here. Those wheels that I've had for 15 years have come to life. And I'm thinking of putting it into this exhibition. And possibly, if this is some kind of a contraption or machine, I'm thinking of hanging it in the air. So it's like a space vehicle or something that's out there in the space, far away. And the whole working within its own DNA and its own cosmos. That is the relationship between what I call being home here on Earth and being in, or on the other hand, being in space. I've been trying a new experiment. I'm trying now to draw once a day for the sake of drawing, not just to exhibit, to get it right.
How's that doing?
Just started. I got one drawing I drew on my desk. My desk was very boring.
When you do pictures like this, do you just go at the canvas, or do you have a...
I'm starting to go at the canvas more. Now, for instance, if I'm doing the windows there, and there's these skyscrapers, these forms, you don't just flay your arms around because you're working within a tighter spot. Balancing the act, I think you want to run as free as you might, and then you keep your concentration. You try not to lose concentration on a work. It's like a baseball player who finds himself daydreaming during a game. And if you're really drawing and it's working well, you don't want to drift into some kind of daydreaming issue or kind of way, because it won't hold the attention of the viewer. I'm going in this series, obviously. I'm off to the moon, and all the jokes that have been centered around me lately, which I think has been positive, of me being a little bit far out.
Oh, yeah, but...
I think when I was a kid, it was good, yeah, it's good. It's a hell of a lot better than
being normal.
Or being bored or boring people.
Or past your prime. Now
Past
you're,
your prime, yeah.
you're getting into some new stuff, which is
You
invigorating.
know, you get the old Pad Ewan thing, people need a Pad Ewan and need another Pad Ewan. So, okay, I'll stick my hand up, I'll take a shot at it. Especially if I want to work, I've always been a little bit audacious, but that's also seen through my energy. So, whatever they want to throw me, I'm game. If I can play blues and rock and roll.
I know, it's fabulous. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what we've got here with just the footage that we shot today. Maybe put something together. It might inspire some things that you have a look at
Well,
it.
like for instance, the thing with the ladder, we might have to do a shoot too, if you want to use that.
Yeah, do you have a wooden ladder?
These slashes on these two, they're like laser beams. They're like energy that's either applied or is measuring. These slashes maybe are also part of the recipe, or part of the and part of the environment. This also is about energy. It's about cause, drive, being, form. I always have seen a link between mechanical things and organic and curved and growing things. I see them as two issues, but working in opposition sometimes, but also creating a dynamism and a possibility of a new state, of a new world, a new cosmos.
With Walter's work, there always seems to be kind of an inside-outside thing going on as well, and so it's a body, but it reminds me in a way of, there used to be those great in the Encyclopedia Britannica, they would have picture of the body and the clear layers of the body. So you get the muscles and you get the organs and you get the circulatory system. And looking at Ghostship, it has hints of the circulatory system as well. It almost feels like what's under the skin and muscle of an animal. But then the more time you spend with it, the more that kind of fades away as well, and they become these kind of mysterious objects that don't necessarily bear any resemblance to the natural world, and they in a way feel like they're creatures of Walter's imagination or images from Walter's imagination that don't necessarily need to have any reference to the natural world.
There's two planks. If they have to set it down, they should carry those planks.
Okay.
Just slide it
Underneath them.
underneath them.
Okay.
And then it's the second section that's going to be the difficult, the hardest one to get through. Hold on.
Here's the card right here. They're on the table.
What? Okay.
This bike is lower than the truck is in.
And when the bracket's at the end,
Has to go through the doorway that's 70 inches.
tape on it, but I.
6 feet wide. That's
This is the widest point here.
Yeah, this is the way. And so is that piece of let's go on top spot.
Is Carl Schaefer dead? He is.
Aaron would love that.
From its neck down, and major surgery. And at one point I actually cut the old body off and I twisted it around, and I had it going sideways because I began to link up my energy and my, you know, the forces in the thing. And then the next year I started to work on the back. I often didn't work in the winter. I did this thing outside. So there were 2 summers that I had good heavy work periods. And it began to be more fun at the end. At the beginning, it was just terrible. I was alone. I had to start. You ever feel bad when you haven't started a project yet? You're sitting out there on an empty shelf. It's a nice creative situation to be in, if you can take it. It's supposed to come alive as a ghost. There's some kind of interpretation or a relationship of death in the past in relationship to the living, which is us. And it just scares people sometimes, but they're drawn into it like bees into honey. It's much more, what's the word? Not just normal, but the normality of post-life. What is that? I haven't the answers. Yeah.
If we had an open wall on this side, that would mean that our 360 to get it through could do it on this side, but Marion, because we have a wall here, it's going to require that we twist this way first, and then when we come back, I think that top piece is going to hit the wall here.
sculpting.
What are you working there? I mean, are you...
Well, as I say, one project that I did is I'm going to have 2 black brute pieces, group sculptures. There's one laying of 5 units out there right now. They just said, as if, hey, we're here, we got to be finished too.
Is that part of the last when you had the exhibit at Gibson?
Yeah.
You had those.
Yeah.
The large.
That
you were painting the last time you were here.
Yeah, and we got them all together. So I'm told. I didn't even go yesterday.
Oh, for the one at the
guy that I knew just had it in him, and Marion asked him if he wanted to give us a help, and he was good. He got the groove of the show. You want a statement on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Everybody's interested in capturing energy. This is sort of what I fantasize that energy is. If it was the cosmos, you'd say yes. And since Hubble, I wonder whether we're going to really see more, because we can't really get out there anyway. But so is the nature, and so is the man, that he needs to explore his perimeter. And I think this has been an interesting time these past 2-3 years in the world. This wall piece is in process right now, and to me, I'm just finding my way, and I'm rather enjoying doing this sculpture or drawing. So I'm used to being a sculptor. But there's going to be sculpture in it as well. And it's mainly an area of land somewhere on Earth that is nearby. There's a city, and I'm just trying to gather some of the energy that's in this land and with these people. Now, I didn't know what I was doing, so I was just stretching all over the place, trying to work, also dealing with my problem. I spilled paint cans, so somebody spoke last night there. I haven't cleaned it up yet. Just trying to do stuff, and it began to work. But then, when you put that shot there of this thing, where we had the stadium concept. Mm-hmm. We had no idea. We sort of call it a stadium because parts of this room and all the stuff reminded one possibly of a stadium. Mm-hmm. And I had no other words, no other ideas. But since then, I began to see, well, that's interesting. A stadium. What would a stadium be? So fire over on that one right over there. This is about a possible haven or sunbathing. And I'm also not totally sure what, but they are starting to come. So I have some pieces that are a little bit more primordial and tougher, and some are, I also think that they're also beautiful. What do I want? How can I show this besides it's just being shown by education, that sort of thing? So,
what?
A commercial showing.
You want to be able to show people who would put this up someplace, like a.
It could be. I mean, you could go to you could get, say, for instance, a town like Cincinnati. You could go if you knew someone
somebody in Cincinnati, you can get your foot in the door, show it to some of the people and say, look, we can build this kind of thing here. So it's like, it's a little museum. But it's a maze, but it's not a...
We have to do the floor too.
Yeah, I mean, there's focus here of planes, sides, ends, what have you, and you could even design it so that the outside of the piece of the 2x4s could be joined in the visual effect, where you could it'd be like an architect. Like I saw Lieberskin show his models and his drawings, and it really inspired me because I'm working on this as well. And he has this program I just saw on CBC has these directions, these lines that go out of the vortex, and they might go 30 miles east. The bloody lines, and he's lining them up with maps and whatever, and he's getting all his zones. I do that. This is the frustrating part about it. This is like looking at a big feast, and
do you want to eat it all?
Yeah, you want to eat it all. you don't know where to start. You haven't got this limitation thing declared.
No, you've been working on this since last year.
Yeah, and I had to make it up. There's no disguise here. I mean, you're trying to make a room that has a kind of inner venture to it of the outer world, the bigger world. Geez, is that frustrating? It seems like I have the same damn message, of complexity, the universe, things going. Like I've been working on my paintbrush strokes, teaching myself how to paint. See, that blue and red one. You should. Now, when you look at that thing, Dennis, it has spots in it where there's almost a piece of organic architecture in that area. Now, if you have sculptures stacked in front of them too close, you end up concealing. So you got that problem of how do you combine togetherness and things standing in front of each other and not blocking each other out.
Well, if they're far enough away from the piece, then people can walk in, around, and through, and then discover.
Interesting shot there too. Yeah, you keep them on here. There's some faces in there. They always come. Where do they come from?
You just release them. Well, it's got to be overwhelming, isn't bad. I mean, there's
Well,
lots.
what is it?
There's just lots to see.
Is this a site? Is it a city? Is it the environment?
I think it's behind the scenes of the cosmos, like a lot of your other stuff. It's the workings of the machine behind the illusion. Because you, as you say, you keep on seeing all these TV monitors and people behind, so you're sort of breaking through the surface and getting to the nitty-gritty of
the essence, the unknown essence.
We had a really good time with
we always had students here, at least for over maybe 12, 15 years of our life. We had students come and stay for the summer. And it was an exciting time for them, and I think Walter really enjoyed it too. And I think I got a break from talking art.
Or listening.
Or listening to, yeah, you're right, listening to art talk. But, and a lot of them still visit, and visited Walter, you know, even in the hospital, and that's really kind of special for us, for him too.
You can cut out and get back to your, although this is Friday afternoon, it's not quite as...
No, we finished work.
No, I'm not going to open that. Hell with it. No, we don't. Here's a piece I'm thinking of doing. 10, 15 years I've had this piece around. And I worked on it, you see, with the organic.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit in the front. So it's like a wagon. It's going to be hitched together. So these are the front wheels and these are the back. And there's going to be like an axle with a pipe going up. And up here, vertically, above the center, above these two wheels, there'll be as if they're just riding in this contraction, or contraption. See that? And it's going to be like a geometric figure. And his feet are going to be here. And his body will go up like a geometric sculpture, 12, 15 feet up there. And he'll be riding these four wheels. And he'll be like bouncing on there with his feet together like this. His feet together, you see?
Yeah.
His whole body, and he's like this, and he's... So I want to, while I'm still doing the color pieces, I want to finish this one. And get this rustic old world here.
I called Walter and I said, Walter, is Michael Gibson calling? you know, I've got a question to ask you. And I said, would you like to show with us if you could show with Patterson Ewan? And that is a phone call that I could make to probably 100 artists, and every one of them would say yes. And but Walter was the only man that that opportunity was available.
His place in Canadian art history is pretty firm, but I think like anybody, it's up to us as collectors and institutions and recorders of history to make sure that people know about him and continue to know about him. It's one of the things that you're doing, and it's one of the things that we're doing. I mean, we bought a major work of Walter's last year, and you know, we spent most of our acquisition budget for the year on that one piece, because we're really the collecting institution of record for Walter's work. And so if we don't have a representative sampling of his work across the years, we're doing a disservice to him, but we're also doing a disservice to everybody who cares about, you know, Canadian art and Canadian art history.
I don't think there's enough time to really go into every friggin' theory there is.